To the AM show. Good to have you along this morning. You're on 3 Magic Talking, of course, online. Now, if you're a new parent, then dealing with the daunting change from liquids to solids for your bubba can be a confusing time. We're doing this because, well, it's been a busy lockdown, I suppose. You've been at home, you're busy, but have made babies, you see, so we think this is about right. It's about the right time to start talking about this. Clinical nutritionist Gina has just recently released her book, Tiny Human, What Do I Feed You? With lots of advice, and she joins us now. Really good question. What do you feed them? Gina, g'day, good morning, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
I hope the book's doing well. What are the signs that a baby should start going to solids? When do you work this one out? I've almost forgotten. I had some experience in this too.
Yeah, well, there's a few key things that we look for before we start introducing solids, and generally around 4 to 6 months, babies start showing an interest in food. But there's a couple of other key things that we want to be looking for before we start introducing food. One of them is making sure that they can sit up unassisted so that their diaphragm muscles are developed enough to push food through the digestive system. And the other key thing that we want to be looking for is the loss of the tongue thrust reflex. So this is a reflex that we're born with to stop us from choking on things. And if you were to pop something in a baby's mouth and they spit it back out, then we know that they're not quite ready for food. So really looking for the interest in food, and then the other two key things, making sure that they can sit up unassisted, and then that lost that tongue thrust reflex.
Are there some solids that babies traditionally and historically warm to really quickly, and are there some that they just can't stand? And is it universal? Is there any tricks for new mums and dads that you know?
Yeah, babies tend to have quite a sweet palate, but I recommend offering some different flavours and some savoury things as well, so that you're not really guiding their palate to sweet food. But yeah, there are some key things that we look for in introducing really nutrient-dense foods to begin with. So things like avocados, egg yolks, cooked vegetables, they're all really great things to start your baby on.
That sounds good, Gina. But how do you also minimise the risk of food allergies, and how do you know that they may have an allergy?
Yeah, this is a great question, because we are in a time where there are a lot of allergies about, and the latest guidelines are recommending that we do offer the top allergen foods in the first 12 months, so that babies are having an exposure to these allergen foods and they're not developing a reaction later down the track.
Should you do what my mother did, which was, I think she pretended she was an aeroplane, and the food came at me from some height and it came right into my mouth like a game, and even I at sort of age 6 months thought, can this game end quickly, please? And then the other one is just put the food in front of the baby and let them stuff it in their mouth, baby-led weaning. What's the best way? My mum's way or the new way?
I tend to use both. So there is a saying, food before one is just for fun, and that's partly true, because there is a lot of development happening with playing with food, but there are some key nutrients that you're wanting to get into your baby as well. So things like iron, DHA, calcium, all those really important nutrients that babies are needing for their development. But then also offering foods for them to play with and to feed themselves at the same time.
Yeah, it can get messy, but just
a bit of both.
Yeah, grab a cloth and breathe. Yeah, there'll be a new tomorrow. That's a clinical nutritionist, Gina. Appreciate your time on the program.